everyone, my name is Tori, this is Novel Life, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome to my romantasy and or fantasy romance TBR. I never know which one people like to use, like which word, but I'm very excited to sit down and talk about some fantasy romances that are on my TBR. Now, all the ones that I have downloaded are all from Kindle Unlimited. I just actually went through this morning when I woke up and I was having my coffee. I was like, hey, I'm feeling very much in the fantasy mood. I just finished The Sword of Kaigen, and while that is definitely not a romantasy, it's more high fantasy than anything, it got me in the mood where I was like, ooh, I'm craving just a good like fantasy with a really good romance, because I love that. So I wanted to download some from Kindle Unlimited. Now, a lot of these that I have downloaded from Kindle Unlimited are either like books talked about from my friends that, you know, that's why they're on my radar, books that I've been seeing around that I just want to give a try, books that I find super interesting based on the blurb and or the cover, or like people recommended them to me. So I have 9 to talk about, so it's not like my full Kindle Unlimited TBR, but I definitely just want to talk about them because they're definitely they're on my radar. Okay, now the first one is one that's been on my Kindle for a while. I do have the physical book of this, I do have the audiobook of this. I do definitely want to read this series because I've heard really good things about it. So if you want to see a reading vlog of this series this year, because I definitely want to get through most of the series, you can comment below. But that is Gilded by Raven Kennedy. So funny story is I actually DNF'd this series 2 years ago. I tried to read Gilded and I got like 20% in, and I was like, I'm not really feeling this. I don't understand what's happening. And a lot of people said, I think this was before like the 3rd, 4th book was out in the series, and a lot of people said that this was a series that you have to like stick around for, like the payoff is worth it. So while the first book isn't like the best, or it may not be the best to you, the payoff of the series is worth it. And I think that the series that comes to mind when I think of is Throne of Glass. So I don't really like Throne of Glass like book 1. It's not my favorite, like it's an introduction, you know, it's not her best writing, but I do think the payoff of that series is well worth reading it. So I'm always like looking for a series that the payoff is going to be good. So I'm always willing to give a series a try. But Gilded by Raven Kennedy, I do know this is like a King Midas retelling. I do know our female character. I remember she being all gold and she is stuck in a golden cage, and I guess she's being held captive by the king, but I don't know why she is like that. So, oh, it's a reimagining of King Midas, not a retelling. Okay, so it's an adult fantasy series, romance, intrigue, danger, the gilded world of Aurea will grip you from the very first page. So I'm very excited. Like I said, I have the audiobook for the first, I think, 3 books. I got them through an Audible sale, so that's one that has definitely been on my TBR. Another one that I think someone recommended to me in my Patreon reading sprints, it was Embers in the Snow by Anna Carvin. So it's book 1 in the Empire of Forbidden Magic, and I don't think there is a 2nd book out, at least it doesn't say, but it is a vampire fantasy romance. I always love a good, like, it's fae people or vampires. Like, that's my thing with like fantasy romances. Like, if that's said, I'm sold. So it says, they're marrying me off to a monster. I knew this day would come. I never thought father would go to the capital and seek an audience with Emperor Duthris himself with an unholy deal that he made. How I ended up betrothed to that man. The son, Corvin, he's a war hero, commander, fallen. They say that the war in the Northlands changed him alongside his armies. He fought dark magic in the mountains. It transformed him. It's less than 500 pages and it's on Kindle Unlimited. It has really good ratings. So that's one that like I've never heard other people talk about other than like my patrons recommended it to me. So I'm willing to give really any book a try. Now, this next one is, I think I've heard some people talk about this, but I never actually like gave it any thought, but it actually came up as a recommended book on my Kindle Unlimited app, and that's the Vesseless. I think that's the word, Vesseless, by Cortney Lwin. So she's heiress to the throne. The throne her father stole away from him. So I guess she's supposed to be the ruler. And now someone is coming to take that away from her. It says Throne of Glass meets Serpent in the Wings of Night. And there's only 1 book in the Merciless Realms series. So I don't know, I like the cover. It's very interesting, and I'm always willing to give a Kindle Unlimited romance a try. So that one's definitely been on my radar. Now, this next one, I'm very excited. It's actually a traditionally published fantasy romance series, but I think the publisher put the books in Kindle Unlimited. So it's Trial of the Sun Queen by Nisha J. Tooley. So I first heard of this author around a Polycon last year, and I was really intrigued. And her line at a Polycon last year was so long. Like, everyone rushed to see her, and I was like, okay, like, if a lot of people love this series, I'm very excited. Now, I don't like it when they take huge series and like put them in the blurb, like this says A Court of Thorns and Roses meets Fourth Wing, because like I just feel like putting it up against huge series, like, I don't know, it sets the bar really high for me, especially ones that I love. But it's an enemies to lovers fantasy romance with fae magic, high stakes trials, and a dark prince. And apparently this went around book talk, so I'm very intrigued. I do want to read this one. I don't think these are very long books. Yeah, this is only 400 pages. So do I have this book? I have like book 2 in the series, which is so bizarre. I don't know why I have it. I have like book 2, but I do have that one, so it's somewhere on my shelf. But I got the, I think, 3rd book in this series from my wish list. Oh, I do have book 2, which is Rule of the Umbra King, and then I got book 3, and I think book 4 just came out, and I think it's now complete. But I did see some people on Book Talk that I follow talk about it, so I'm very intrigued because, like I said, so many people ran to her line at a Polycon. I am going back to a Polycon this year. I don't know if she's going to be there, but I am intrigued. So another one is funny to me. I find it hilarious, okay? And that is Neverkeep by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. You guys know, if you follow me for a little while, I have officially DNF'd the Zodiac Academy series. I read the first 5 books at the end of 2023, and I tried to, I read 6 books. Was it 6 books? Yeah. And then I tried to continue book 7 and 8, or was it 8 and 9? I forgot. It was like the last couple books, and I was like, this is way too drawn out. I do not want to read 1,000 pages or 2,000 pages to see how this series ends. Like, that's not for me. That's not what I want to do. So I did see some people read this and say that it was really good. Now, the ratings are not as high, but it is an enemies to lovers romantasy series set in the same world as Zodiac Academy, but it's dark. It's a dark and villainous tale of its own. So I'm very excited because this one's on the short, I say shorter side. It's 636 pages, but I feel like the physical book doesn't seem that long. I don't know, but book 2 comes out April this year, so I'm like, okay, this is a series that if I can read the first book and I'm on board and I like it, then I can keep up with this series as they come out, rather than having like 9 books in the series and be really intimidated by reading all of those just to read them. I kind of feel intimidated by the Gilded series by Raven Kennedy because it's all completed, but you know what? I'm willing to give this one a try, and I think this has dragons. I could be wrong. Yeah, the dragons are lost. The elements are at war, enlisting isn't optional, and I'm falling for a man who wants me dead. That seems interesting to me, so we're gonna try that. Now, this next book, I have the audiobook. I got this also from the Audible sale because this is a longer book, but I've heard that this series is really good. I've also seen fan art of this series, and I'm very intrigued by the fan art. It's City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. This is House of Devils book 1. So there's 4 books. I don't think all 4 are out. No. Okay. Book 4 comes out on May 13th. So I want to see if this is a series I want to dive into. But it says, welcome to the city of Angel Thin. We hope you survive. Okay. It says, a new fantasy romance perfect for fans of Sarah J. Maas, Alana Andrews, and Cassandra Clare. I haven't read a Cassandra Clare book in so long. Like, I literally was in high school the last time I read her books. So I'm very intrigued to see what this is about. Like I said, the fan art really got me, and that's all I want to know going into this. But I do have, like I said, the audiobook too. So with long fantasy romances, I like to immerse read, and that one I think I said was like 600 pages. Let me see. It was very long. The audiobook is long. 760 pages. Yes, I do remember the audiobook being ridiculously long, but I am excited about it because I've heard good things. So the next book I have downloaded is one that I've downloaded and returned to KU, like in KU so many times, but I watched a TikTok of a certain TV show that I absolutely love, Peaky Blinders. If you don't know me, that is one of my all-time favorite TV shows. And I love the vibes. I love the morally gray characters in that. Everyone. I love everything about that series. Okay, so this apparently is like a fantasy romance, but Peaky Blinders. And so I'm like, you know what? This is the year that I read stuff that I want to read and not feeling like I have to read, if that makes sense. So this is book 1 in the Order of Chaos series. So it's House of Bane and Blood by Alexis L. Menard. I think that is how it says, but it says a city split into two opposing sides. Power comes in many forms: bloodlines, money, love, and most importantly, secrets. An heiress in the most notorious family in Lynchhaven, Camilla is doing all that she can to keep her family's syndicate, the Iron Saint Railway, from slipping into bankruptcy. When a gorgeous and deprived Nikolai, the leader of the royal family, offers to pay off the inspector in exchange for her hand, she has no choice but to give up not only her throne, but her name. Of course, he has his own... Okay, set in a post-industrial age setting on a magical isle, Peaky Blinders meets the magic system of the Grishaverse in this rivals to lovers adult fantasy romance. That makes me so excited. Okay. I get so excited when I read like snippets of the blurb and they just sound amazing, so that's another one. Now, I only have 2 more books to talk about. The next one is North of the Night by Emily Rath. So this has been on my radar because, one, I saw the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition with the sprayed edges and the end pages and the hardback, and it was gorgeous. When I went shopping, I went book shopping and I saw this, and I was so close to picking it up, but I told myself in 2025, I'm only buying books that I feel like I'm really gonna love, and or I read and I loved. So this one I held off because I'm like, okay, I can get the ebook and read it first and then decide if I want the physical book and go buy it from Barnes & Noble. So this is a sapphic, I think, fantasy romance series, but I think it's more like, yeah, it's folklore and inspired fantasy duology. Adrienne Young, who wrote The Unmaking of June Farrell, which I read last year and really enjoyed, she said, a romantic adventure-filled tale that will enrapture readers with a transportive saga of love, friendship, and magic. So I don't know anything. I kind of want to go into it blind, but this is on the longer side. So it's 540 pages. I mean, all fantasy romances are. So if you've read it, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. But the last one I have is one that I literally have never heard anyone talk about, but it came up on my Kindle Unlimited like app as like a recommendation. So it is The Umbra King by Jamie Applegate Hunter. First installment in the completed Amazon bestselling and #1 new released new adult dark fantasy romance duology. That was a mouthful. Why do people do that? Okay, so I do know that, yeah, this came out in 2022, so it's a little bit longer. There is only 2 books, and the first book is, I think, 300 pages. Yeah, 376, which is why it intrigued me. I was like, okay, a book on the shorter side. So it says, morally gray don't want redemption, they want retribution. So it says, after the brutal murder of her twin sister, Rory spends years forging herself into a ruthless vigilante killer. And then after she arrived in Vincula, Aurora discovers her opportunity for retribution is closer than she thought. Caius is the notorious Umbra King, ruler of Vincula, king of the monsters, the thing nightmares are made out of. I'm assuming it's between them. So those are the 9 books on my fantasy romance TBR. I wasn't going to do this video, but I do know a lot of people love fantasy romance, and I want to read more fantasy romances or fantasies in general that I just really seem intrigued by, you know, like just pick them up and read them, and I'll do them in a reading vlog for you. So let me know in the comments which books you want to see me read the most, which have you heard the most hype about, the best about, all of the above. Let me know in the comments down below, please, and thank you. If you made it this far in the video and you want to let me know, leave me the sparkle emoji for fantasy. I always love using the sparkle emoji when there's fantasy involved, but leave me that emoji in the comments down below if you've made it this far. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content from me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.